So let's try this again. Let's see if we can get the sound better. I didn't have my volume turned all the way up on my local thing, which may have something to do with it, or it could be my new speaker that I have, my new microphone. But we'll try it again. So basically, I have this Permits MH Export XLS. This is something we did for residential, and I created for mobile homes as well. Uh, Another thing what I've done is I've created a permits mobile home web map, and inside that I have added mobile home spaces with a transparency or opacity defined on it, about 50%. So you can see the layers that are actually turned on. I have mobile home spaces, mobile home permits, all my layers all together. I have the archive data set, which we archive the completed permits that have a completion date plus have been marked completed once per year. Parcels with attributes is just the geometry that we can click on and get attributes for it. I turn that off by default because for mobile purposes, it's really there to locate yourself when you're in the field. But it's going to affect you on performance, and it's also going to affect you, from what we've heard from residential, even on battery usage. Because when it draws in the geometry. It's accessible. The table information is accessible. Well, we have this other layer called Parcels, which is a vector tile. It's not clickable. It's just essentially a graphic to put your placement of your location, specifically for residential permits. And then, of course, you have your ellipsis where you can open up an attribute table. And within the attribute table, when I go in there and I do a filter, which I'll show you in a second, you can then export it out to CSV. CSV is a native format that works inside of Excel. So you'd export it out, you'd save it, and then you'd open up in Excel. I'll give you a little demo of that in a second. We have a bookmark tool. Bookmarks are just like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, where you can bookmark your web pages. Well, here you can bookmark your location. So I'm zoomed in on Swan Lake out here in the west. If I wanted a bookmark here, I could say add, and then I would say, Swan Lake. And then at this point, if I were to go out and look for another area, right here, let's just zoom into this point. If I wanted to go back to Swan Lake, I just click on it, I go back to Swan Lake. If I want to get rid of it, I click the X. So the major gist of this is this filter. Within the filter, I can put in, say, something like 582. And right now, it's not going to zoom into anything because right now I have to turn it on. And now when it's on the left position, it's off. When it's on the right, it's on. So within that, I can set a filter. A filter essentially is a way to filter out only the data, or filter the data that I only want to see and get rid of everything else. It doesn't remove it from the layer, it just hides it. And then I can come in here and I can pick a date. So I can do the date. Now, because it defaults on January is 2018, if I were to move it to December, I have to click on 2017, click on 1. Now it's going to show me 582 and December 1st, 2017. Maybe I do another date. I'm going to go December again, 2017, go to 31st. So now it's only going to show me, it should only show me, appraiser ID. It happens to be 582 between December 1st and December 31st. So if I click on any of these, I should see 582, and then I should see a date that's within that date range. And then from here, I have essentially, there's more data in here. Actually, it's zoomed into this area, but this filter only shows 113 records. Now, if I wanted to extract this out and put it into Excel, this is where the export to CSV comes in. I can export all to CSV, say OK, downloads the file. I come back in, I open it. And what it will do is it will open up Excel because the CSV file is a native format that is used within Microsoft Excel. And then now I have a local copy of everything that I want. And you can say if you want to delete columns or whatever, then you're in Excel at that point. And that is the gist of this application. You have the ability to do searches on permits and geocode. It's just probably should work with like address ranges. Another thing that I've added on this that I'm just going to play around with and see what you think about it is there's two more ways I can further refine this filter. So right now I have it at 582 and a certain date range, but if I want to further filter out the table, I can come into this options, I can click filter, and I can add an expression. An expression is just a single expression. A set is two expressions. So I can show you an expression would be if I want to just show complete date, or let's just say completed. And we want to show is nose. When I do that, it's going to filter out everything, and this within this extent, I have 5 that are in here that are nose, and so that would be a way that you could, from an attribute standpoint, you could filter out via the table. Now, if I want to go back, open up the filter again, I'm going to close it and say OK, and it will go back to the 113 that I had before because it's removed that table filter. Now, if I go back to filter again, add it as a set, now I actually have the ability to add more than one at a time. And then if I want to, so you can actually do like, if I want this or this, and then do another expression and this, that's kind of the logic there. So you can go like, permit date is something, all is like and I'm going to do the permit date and I'm going to look for PC date. And then if I wanted to add another one in here, it would be, these are all and, so then I would do a load date. Or we do a load, I do an or thing. If I do an add set, I do the permit date and permit type, and then add another expression. See this bar right here is to kind of say it's this, and then there's also this. So I could say all, I want all of these to work, and this all is attributable to these two only. If I click this plus button, it will add another one. So I'd have 3 within this block. Now this one out here falls within this range. So this is all, these are all, this is and, but I could do any. So if I do any, it's these two or this one from an expression standpoint. Now, or I could do any. Any is this or this or this. All is these two or this. And then, of course, back to all. Yeah, hopefully that's not too confusing. It might be, but essentially, if you have any further questions on it, you can reach out and ask me specifically. Let me go back and get rid of those. Okay, that's good. And now another thing what I've done is, and I've never played with this, this is new, there's this little button down here on the filter. And this allows you to come in and add further spatial filters. So it should have a very similar effect by the table, but and I don't know, so the table information is, the way I understand the functionality to work should be, every time you open up a new application, that filter should go away. It should only be existent in this session that I'm in. This custom filter, I'm not sure if it retains or if it doesn't. You'll have to let me know if you play around with it. But we can do mobile home permits. And it's the same thing as before with the filter in the table. I can add an expression or I can add a set. So I can sit there and say, oh, I want to look at, I want to look by book number. And perhaps I want to do 624. And right now it's on. To go further with it, I had to tab. I clicked the tab button to get the control outside of this box, and then it applied that filter. So now it's only showing, and I have 18 records. 18 records are the custom, the regular filter, 582 between these dates. And then I'm doing mobile home permits where I'm looking for a specific book number. And it'd be interesting to say if when you close out and you reopen it, does it actually retain its its information. I'm going to go ahead and close that out, turn that off, come back. Now, as you saw that, I have a custom filter that I have to toggle on and off, and then of course I have the regular filter that I have to toggle on and off. I'm then going to go ahead and turn that off, and now it's going to show you everything, 381 records. Now, this is for the whole county, and I'm still using mobile home, the permit mobile home web map. So you have points out here as well in the Blythe area. If I want to make it blank and I just want to look at everything that just appraiser ID has for 582, I make these blank, and as you see, you have 270 along with this area out here as well. Now, you don't see that readily right away because this thing actually covers it. If you want to expose those points, you just click this little up arrow, chevron, and now it essentially minimizes the filter, and then you can actually see all your data. So that's a kind of an overview on the permits mobile home export XLS. And oh, and then so if I come back to this and I want to then, you know, export to CSV, then I just come down to the table, export all to CSV, and then I have a local Excel copy of this. So hopefully this video is better, and it hopefully is helpful. Let me know either way.